Thank you so much. Thank you for being here today. Let's see. Why did I decide to talk? Loving is begins with loving me. Well, to some, it appears that I have a pretty nice life. I mean, I have a beautiful, loving wife, great kids, and everything you could ask for. And I do. So, in reality, I guess it's pretty easy to love me. I guess that's it. Thank you. Just kidding, of course. My life hasn't always been as wonderful as it is today. I had a life filled with self-doubt, which led me to be very insecure. Outwardly, I appeared to be extremely confident, but inside, I always wondered if I was good enough. At work, I strived to be the absolute best. I did everything I could to please my supervisors, my peers, and of course the public that we served. I wanted to be a leader and a mentor to others in our field. And to do that, you had to exude confidence. I was working extremely hard. I volunteered for extra duties, and I did my best to learn from each and every person I came into contact with. Then, one day, I had a supervisor pull me aside right at the beginning of our patrol shift. He took me outside in our parking lot, and he told me that people hated me. He thought, or they thought rather, that I was cocky, and no one wanted to work with me. I now had to go out and look like a confident deputy sheriff, able to handle any crisis that might come my way. And inside I was crushed, and my self-confidence plummeted. I tried my best to look confident while I was going about my duties that day, and I was parked in a parking lot down by our pier at the ocean, and one of my coworkers drove up and parked next to me. She was an older gal. She'd been on the department a long time, and she worked in a different position than I had. I was a deputy, and she was what we call a community service officer. Her boyfriend happened to be one of the training officers who trained me when I first came out to patrol. She looked at me and she said, "Something's up." She goes, "What's wrong?" I hesitantly told her what the supervisor had told me. She used some extremely choice words to describe this supervisor that unfortunately I can't repeat in this building. So to break it down to the simple parts, she basically told me this supervisor was very petty and he liked to demean people to boost his own ego. She said she'd had discussions with her boyfriend on all of the other coworkers that we shared about me because I was the new guy. And she told me that everybody liked me and thought of me as being an unselfish and hard worker. So, of course, my spirits were lifted, but I knew this supervisor had influence. He especially had influence over our command staff. Those are the people above him. And sure enough, the next day I was called into the lieutenant's office, and she said that she'd heard I was not a team player. And therefore, they decided to send me to the graveyard shift so that I could learn to become a team player. I met all of my new partners during the briefing of my first shift on graveyards, and then we went out on patrol. You get in your car and you drive out. Your car's your office, and you're there by yourself. So I get a pretty sensitive call to handle first up. It's a call to dead body. I respond, deal with the woman, the deceased loved one on the floor. And one of my partners showed up to cover me, and he watched me conduct my investigation and how I handled the public, and then we clear the call. He gets me on the radio and he says, "Let's meet over at the 7-Eleven, which is a gas station and convenience store." He got out of his car, he walked up and he said, "I want to know what happened." "What are you talking about?" He proceeded to tell me that the entire team had been briefed about me not being a team player. So I reluctantly told him the story of what happened with the supervisor. He listened very carefully. He looked me in the eye, and he said to disregard what the supervisor had said. Once again, using language I can't repeat in this building. He said he could tell in the brief time we'd spent together that I was nothing like what the supervisor had described. Based on these conversations and how I know I was raised by my parents, I realized I was no longer being true to myself. I had to let the opinion of this other person, I had the opinion of this other person have a negative influence on me. It brought me down. Now, in my private life, I was experiencing similar issues. I allowed my then significant other to cause me to doubt who I truly was. And although I tried to work through it with her, it took me a very long time to realize that I had to let go of her outside influence too. But how could I? I was upset with myself for not realizing what I had become. And you all know that I like music. So, I listen to music all the time, and I try to find the meanings that impact me in the song. Because when you perform a song, if you can find meaning in it, it helps to bring out a performance that people can connect with. So I found this song and I thought, what if this song isn't really about somebody else? The singer singing about somebody else, but them singing about themselves. What have I got to do to make you love me? What have I got to do to make you care? What do I do when lightning strikes me? And I wake to find that you're not there. What do I do to make you want me? What do I got to do to be heard? What do I say when it's all over? Sorry seems to be the hardest word. It's sad, so sad. It's a sad, sad situation, and it's getting more and more absurd. It's sad, it's so sad. Why can't we talk it over? Oh, it seems to me, sorry, this seems to be the hardest word. Sorry. So, I recently had a poem that I'd like to share with you. They kind of talked about this, and I'll try to deliver it in the same way that the author delivered it. His name's Adam Rua. It does contain a bad word, but we're all adults. It's called You Are Who You've Been Looking For. You are who you've been looking for. So stop looking for more. Unless you're looking in a mirror, because it's about time for you to clearly see that you are who you've been looking for. And that empty feeling you got, that hole in your chest, you only got that feeling because you think you're not blessed with everything you need. You see, we live in a consumerist society, which means they need you to buy stuff. And the easiest way to sell it is to tell you you're not enough. Buy this car, you'll get girls. Buy this bra, you'll get guys. And we're seeing it so much that we start believing these lies. But the truth is, the makeup they're selling to make you feel prettier is the same makeup you buy to stop feeling shittier. About this lie, they keep telling you that you're not enough. And what about the movies we watch? All the TV shows on TV. The more I watch, the more I see, I need you to complete me. And yet love is the answer. Love is the key. But if you can't love yourself, how could you ever love me? And loving yourself, what does that even mean? Like massages and selfies? That sort of thing? Because the more I think about it, the more I've always been taught that self-love was something to be feared. I've been taught that arrogance is bad and vanity, it's not good. And even my bracelets are telling me to act how Jesus would. So what should I do? How should I act? I'm supposed to love myself, but how do I even do that? Well, I got a trick that I picked up from a friend who noticed I was quick to defend her when she would say something negative about herself. She would say, I'm so dumb, and I'd say, you're so brilliant. She'd say, I'm so weak, and I'd say, you're so resilient. And when she said, I feel ugly, and I said, you look beautiful, she asked me why I was so dutiful, filling up her cup constantly, and yet treating my own cup so irresponsibly. Because when I looked in the mirror, my voice was quite clear. You're ugly, you're too fat, your hairline's receding, you got a pimple on your chin. And that was then. She gave me the piece of advice that changed my life. She gave me a hug and she said, treat yourself like someone you loved. Treat yourself like someone you loved. Now, I had been standing, but I needed to be sitting because I couldn't believe that I'd been letting myself keep forgetting that I was who I'd been looking for. And deep in my core, I knew it was time to stop looking for more until I could look through all my fear and look into a mirror and see clearly that the man looking back at me was the only one who can make me happy. And I am already enough. And I'm not any more special or unique than you. That is why I'm here to speak to you. You are already enough. And when you start to see that, you will start to be that. Your world will get brighter, your load will get lighter, and you can see that with life you can be a lover, not a fighter. And that life, you deserve it. Because you are worth it. And there is no point in letting yourself keep forgetting. Because no matter what you say or do, you are perfect. And so today, I hope I lead you with a correction, away from the flaws you see in your reflection. They aren't flaws to me. They are simply protection against all the doubts you have of your reflection. So start today. Take a good long look in the mirror and say, I am who I've been looking for. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. And I almost did it like he did. That was good. Today, of course, I'm much more confident in myself. I was able to get through that issue at work to the point where I got all the jobs in that career that I truly wanted. At the beginning of my career, the actual sheriff came to our graduation class and went around the room and said, what do you want to do with your career? And when he got to me, I said, I'd like to be a jail deputy, a patrol deputy. I want to be a training officer. I'd like to be a detective. I'd like to someday promote. And then I'd like to go back and be a supervisor of a detective unit. And guess what I did? I was a jail deputy. I was a patrol deputy. I was a training officer in patrol. I actually supervised our Explorer program, so the kids that wanted to go into law enforcement. I became a special purpose detective, which was something brand new on the department that later turned into the cops deputy position, a community-oriented problem-solving and policing. Then I went to work financial crimes as a detective. Then I promoted to sergeant. Went back to patrol as a patrol sergeant. And I actually, unbeknownst to me, why they picked me, but they said, we'd like you to supervise the traffic unit. I'd never done traffic. I was a traffic sergeant. They said, by the way, you're going to be the detective sergeant too. So I was doing both of those things at the same time for 3 years. And then they finally said, we'll put a new traffic sergeant and just be the detective sergeant. And I was fortunate enough to do that for a long time. And then from there I moved and went to work in our court system as a supervisor before I retired. So I made it through all those steps I had told the sheriff I wanted to do. And that other guy didn't matter. He never really mattered. But I let it get to me until I realized I could love myself and be myself. And it was okay. So, once again, I have a beautiful, loving wife who supports and encourages me. My kids are amazing. I got to see them last week. And I'm living the dream. And I couldn't be where I am today if I hadn't learned that loving what is begins with loving me.